I was saying his name because it sounds so good. It's Charles Payne, and here he comes. How you doing, bud?
Good, thank you.
Brand new show today, by the way. Fox Business Network, 2 o'clock today.
2 p.m. We moved
the
the
big
show.
debut
Yeah,
to move the show for a guy to analyze the market. So analyze this. Down 15, coming off last week. What do you think?
Not too bad. I mean, last week was really crazy, right? It was a roller coaster ride, massive triple-digit moves, up 400, down 400, up 300, down 300. This is relatively tame. A lot of selling still in these big tech names. Investors rotating their money to safety like blue chip names. So a little bit of anxiety here.
Okay.
But,
all right. Well, Larry Kudlow was talking with Chris Wallace on Sunday and said this. This is his evaluation now. Here's Kudlow.
These kinds of corrections are absolutely normal. This one so far actually is rather moderate. I think it's about 5% or so, 6%. We're still ahead year to date in the major indexes by 4 or 5%. The reality is we're clicking on all cylinders. Americans, entrepreneurs, workers are absolutely crushing it. Profits are rising. Confidence is up. Blue collars are up. Wages are up.
Yeah.
Well, you know, he's absolutely right across the board. If I was to quibble with things, beneath the surface, it has been a hit or miss market all year long. Of the S&P 500 names, over 200 are down for the year. In fact, 20% are down more than 20%. So if you are in the wrong stock or stocks, it hasn't necessarily been a good year.
But do you think fundamentals are still strong?
Fundamentals are phenomenal. Fundamentals
are you buying in this market?
I'm looking to buy. Listen. I'm not the guy that goes on every day and every dip tell people to buy. It's unrealistic, right? The average person watching those sitting on cash, they should be licking their chops right now. And I would say at some point in the next week or so, that's when the coiled spring, that's when you want to strike.
And you got to watch the Fed and interest rates as well. Because
exactly. That's the wild card. That's what really created all of this turmoil. So that's the one wild card. I think once we get that a little bit settled in our minds, we're okay.
The other factor, trade, specifically the trade war. President Trump, in a 60 Minutes interview, scaled that back, said he called it a skirmish with China. Here's what the Chinese ambassador had to say about that. Listen to this.
Well, we don't want to have any trade war with any other country, including the United States. But the fact is, through the bilateral trade between China and the United States, you know how much benefit American consumers have got over the years, and how much money American companies have made from their operation in China. You have to look at the whole picture.
So
except he was missing a key component of the whole picture, the American worker. He talked about the consumer. He talked about corporate America. Yeah, corporate America loves cheap labor. They love a supply chain, even if it's filled with child labor or slave labor. Corporate America digs that. Fatter bottom line, I get that. Consumers, we like cheap plastic stuff. I get that. He did not mention the absent American worker, the millions that have lost their jobs in this unfair trade deal. So I get where he's coming from, but he left out a key component. Quickly,
on the Saudi Arabia thing, is getting a lot of attention. They have this thing called the Davos for the desert. Do I have that right?
Something like that.
Davos,
yeah.
blah, blah, blah. It draws people in from all over the world. We woke up to headlines this morning that significant CEOs in America will not attend. How significant could that be?
Somewhat significant. Last year, Saudi Arabia took in just $1.7 billion in foreign investments. That was their lowest amount in 14 years. They certainly need foreign money coming into that country to bolster it. But you know, it's one thing for a CEO who's dealing with immediate public opinion. It's another thing for the President of the United States and Stephen Mnuchin to say, let's do a thorough investigation. Let's not have a knee-jerk reaction with a very critical ally in the Middle East. So I think the White House is doing the right thing, and I think corporate America is doing the right thing.
Congratulations on the new
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Make sure you guys watch.
There he is.
All right.
You're going to be right in the meat of it.
That's right, baby.
I love it.
I'll be crunching numbers during this show.
Yes, you will. Thank you.
See you later.
Top House Republican Congressman Jim Jordan says a subpoena could be headed for Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein.